right. Peace, peace, peace. Greetings, everybody. Hey, aunties. Can y'all
Hey,
hear
Hey,
me? All right.
yes,
Who we got on here?
Auntie
Introduce
Destiny.
yourself. Yes.
Auntie Marva.
And I'm Auntie John. Um, so do we have any announcements? Oh, first of all, welcome to Auntie Listen. This is episode 16. Woohoo! We made it.
Woo-hoo.
Right, right. And we just keep on getting better. Auntie Marva, do we have any announcements before we get going?
Yes, we do. Our announcements, first and foremost, always like, subscribe, comment, and share. We want you to tell a friend that can tell a friend and tell another friend to come in and join you to take a listen to the podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Auntie Listen Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Auntie Listen. You can find us on Twitter or X at Auntie List, LIST 52888. That's Auntie List 52888. And you can find us on TikTok at Auntie Listen. And please do join us and take advantage of our Patreon. It's early access, gives you is for only $5. It gives you access to the show before everyone else gets to hear it. That's Auntie Listen. And then go on over and take advantage of some of our affiliate links and get you a couple of discounts. You can join us on Amazon. We have Bed Bath and Beyond, Target, Walgreens, Walmart, as well as the Great Discovery, where you can sign up for free or pay classes and you can upload your own course. We also have our Auntie Listen merch. You can go to auntielisten.myshopify.com and get you some cute little souvenirs for the podcast. And um, yeah, that's what we want you to do. We want you to take full advantage as well as enjoy what you hear when you join us every single month with Auntie Listen. Back
All right.
to you.
Yes, and now it's time. Thank you, Auntie Marva. Now it's time for our observances. And I pulled all of these, well, most of these, off of UN.org. That's the United Nations website. Because I felt like if anybody should know what's to be celebrated and observed in the world, maybe they should. And they had some good ones, although I wonder if while we have all these issues, if the United Nations, all these different people get together to at least look at them. But here we go. So on September 1st, so that we may observe a day of charity. So y'all go through your closets now. You have like what, 5 days since we're on September 1st to get your stuff. Actually, by the time you hear this show, it'll be beyond that, but you can still participate. Get some stuff together and give it to somebody because you know you ain't been using all that stuff. So that's September 1st, Day of Charity. September 8th is Literacy Day. September the 10th is Suicide Prevention Awareness. And as a matter of fact, I did see where in the United States, which is where we're located, it's actually an entire week that that's observed suicide prevention awareness. September the 21st is there was two World Alzheimer's Day and also the World's Day of Peace. September 23rd is the Day of Sign Language. September 26th is for the total elimination of nuclear weapons. That one really got me for a loop because I didn't understand if they allow it, how is it eliminated on the one day, then on the next day, do they just bring it back or whatever? I ain't trying to be negative, nothing, but some of these for real I just had questions swirling around in my head. I don't understand the list. But okay, we're going to give them a little something for trying, I guess. September the 29th, we're moving on. That is awareness of food loss and waste. And then I reeled it back in for a couple of U.S. holidays. One would be Labor Day, which is tomorrow. That's September the 2nd. And then on September the 8th, that's Grandparents' Day, which is always a day that I think about just because I'm a grandmama now, right? And did y'all have any notable days that are coming up this month? Anything that you think of when you think of September?
I always remember our other sister, her birthday is
Hmm.
September 6th, and our niece is September 5th.
Stop saying names. I just
Yeah.
remember that on the 11th, it's the anniversary of my oldest sister and brother's passing.
Yeah. And speaking
Oh,
of September
Along
11th. I'm
along
sorry.
with the what was it, the World Trade Center.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I cut you off, but that's when you said September 11th. That is something that many people remember in September. I have my stepdaughter who is no longer with us, and she shares the name with one of my youngest sisters on my dad's side. Their birthdays both are on September 2nd. So yeah, and we have an auntie on September 2nd too. So yeah, September, a lot of birthdays as well. But it starts getting cooler in September too, y'all. Have y'all been feeling that where y'all are? Because I know we're in three different parts of the country.
yeah.
Yeah,
Only
yeah.
because of the all the rain. I'm getting a lot of
Mm-hmm.
rain here.
But we
The same
appreciate it
here.
however we can get it. Cool weather, because the sun can be brutal.
I don't want it.
Um, me neither. What else we
No,
got?
I want the sun. I don't want the cool weather. I don't
Oh,
like the
you don't?
cold.
Yeah, I don't like the cold weather. Cool is good. Cold, no.
I don't want the cool. I don't want the cold. I don't want the breezy. Give me the sun.
Because we're tropical. Auntie Destiny, you might be different because you're up in the northern state,
I don't want the
northernmost.
I don't want the cold, and I don't want the extreme heat. I always want perfect San Diego beach weather, even though I'm no longer in San Diego. But
I was
I
about to say you a long way from
Okay,
San Diego.
I was holding my tongue. I'm like, well, lady, come on, let's move, let's do this.
Kind of far from San Diego, don't you think?
hey,
So,
California is just a state away. Well, two
Hello.
states away.
You know what? I never think about that it's that close to you just because it's so long, and I think about the bottom rather than the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to I was really thinking on that day of charity, the first one that I mentioned, and that I found the notable quote. It just popped up and I was like, "Hey, right there." So this one it says, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And that's by Winston Churchill. What do you ladies think about that?
I love that. I love that. That's a great quote.
Yeah, we
And
make
it's
a
very
living.
true.
Mhm. By what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Yeah, beautiful words to live by, I thought.
Yeah.
It
What
just
that?
sounds
What do
like
y'all
the
know about
spread of truth.
Winston Churchill? I've heard his name all of my life, and I am ashamed to admit I've never really looked him up. I don't know much about him at all.
I know he's done a lot in Congress, right?
No idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look him up because I literally found this quote yesterday when I was going back over the list, and then I looked up something, and then I was like, oh, okay, and
Yeah.
then I was like, who is he?
He
Hmm.
was okay, yeah. Winston Churchill was the prime minister. I think. Wait, wasn't he the prime minister?
For
It
somewhere, that's all I
says
know.
I think it
he was a member of parliament from 1900 to 1960, 64 years, dude.
Ah,
And and represented a total of five constitution what constituent, I don't know what that word is, I'm sorry. He was a writer, a British statesman, a soldier. He was the prime minister of the UK twice from
mm,
that's what I thought.
1940 to 1945 during the Second World War, and from 1951 to 1955.
okay.
Yeah.
And ideology I can't read today. You know what, we're just gonna skip over that. He was a member of the Conservative Party, which he led from 1940 to 1955. That's a long time, for 15 years. And then he was a
Mm,
member of the Liberal Party from 1904 to 1924. Hmm.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. I thought he was the prime minister. Yeah. I was
Twice. He was
100%
he was the
but
prime
twice.
minister two times.
All right.
Hmm.
Well, that's pretty neat. So now we
Yeah.
know a bit about him. I'm still gonna look him up because I find myself embarrassed for real.
Yeah,
I'd
there's
like
a
to know
lot.
more.
It just keeps going. Wow, I'm skimming right now. He was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize in literature in
Mm,
53, 1953. Goodness gracious. He's done a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. He he was
Yeah, that's
a
exactly why I
great
want to look him
humanitarian.
up, do more research on him, because I know in my memory the fact that his name has come up so often, and it was always, from what I can remember, in a pleasant way. I
Yeah.
should know more. I just should know
Yeah, it
more.
seemed like he did a lot. Like he was against a lot of he had a lot of race. He was against. It was more for equality,
Yes.
it
Hmm.
appears. And even though he was held in a very light, very high esteem, a lot of people try to fight against it, because there's money and racism. But yeah, he's done a lot. Wow, he's done a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was a
definitely look him
great
up.
humanitarian. Yeah.
So I bet he was an awesome grandfather. And I segue into our topic, which is, now I was gonna say that the generations show, but I thought of a show that Auntie Destiny always encouraged me to watch, which I still have on my list. Haven't started yet, but This Is Us. So the title of this month's show is Generations Us. And it was
Oh,
kind of a way to pull everybody back, because a few months ago I got off of social media. I took a break. You'd be needing a break from it all. And but before that, some of there was a lot of great things, but some of the negative stuff was this war between the generation, and it was more or less, I guess, because we're the ones that have the stamina, Generation X and Generation Millennials. Them two people's right there. um, one feel like one should be doing more for them, even though they're fully grown, and the others feeling like, no, y'all on your own because we had to be on our own. We were latchkey kids, they had to go in the house, nobody was there, and take care of ourselves, and we didn't burn stuff down. So there was that. So I just decided to give us something that would speak to us being together. So Generations Us, right? um and I thought of a quote that I didn't have to look up. It's actually something that I heard, and this person may not be your favorite, no matter what you feel about them. But as a child, I heard this being said by this person in a stand-up set, and I just never forgot it. I thought it was so funny. And it's by Bill Cosby.
I knew that.
I knew she
Yeah,
was going to
because
say
I've
that.
said it a few times. It's just funny to me. He, during one of his stand-ups, he says he's talking about grandchildren and children, and he talks about his whatever. And at one point, he says, "If I had known that grandchildren were this much fun, I would have had them first." And I just find that to be so funny, and now so true for my own life. I love my grandchildren. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. But I think most grandparents feel that way if you spend any time with your grandchildren. And that's no dig on some grandparents who don't or can't spend time with their grandchildren, because that's part of what I was hearing with the generational war stuff, about how the younger folk would like for their parents to spend more time with the grands. But we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to
Wait,
that.
was it that they wanted them to spend more time, or was it that they
Or just
wanted
be
them
a
to
babysitter.
babysit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
because
we're,
I
we're
my
gonna get to
take
that.
was they would just wanted to babysit.
We are gonna get to that.
Well, before we move forward,
Uh
I
huh.
want to say something about something you just said. Two things.
Mhm.
Children are funny regardless, especially nowadays because it seems like these children is old. These children got some old people running around inside of them, and I don't know where it's coming from. So for him to say, and if you notice, a lot of his stuff he regarded children in all of his shows, or the just younger generations younger than him. He always
True.
regarded children. What is it? The darndest things kids say. I love that show.
Mm.
That was his show, and he would host. Remember, he hosted that first.
Mhm.
I loved, loved, loved that show because it was him. He would navigate that show in a way for children to think, like to think on big topics, and their
Mhm.
responses were always so unique, and he would just be cracking up. He
Yeah.
used to be cracking up, but it would be still some really good ideas. They were just very colorful with their answers. The second thing was, so you mean to tell me all my good videos that I've been sending to you, you haven't even been getting them because you ain't on social media?
Right. I thought you knew that. See, that tells you how much you're missed. But see, I guess because we talk on the phone, then you would not know that. But yeah, no, it's been a long time. I just reposted a profile pic, which even that was 3 months ago. I've taken a
I
million
liked
pictures
it.
since then.
I put a
You
heart on
did.
it. I seen that. That's why I'm shocked. Like she just shared, she just updated
Yeah.
her
If you notice,
profile.
there is nothing else other
So
than
who's
that
looking at my
same
funny
day.
videos?
Gotta. I. Oh, that's a funny, scary, and funny thought. I have no idea. Huh.
So nobody's so somebody's enjoying my funny videos and it ain't you.
That's funny. Is somebody liking them?
No.
Oh, oh, cause that's just
But
weird.
that segue for a great horror story.
You have one?
I mean, I would like to create one. That's kind of cool.
Okay, we're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna. We need to. Is anybody writing this stuff down?
I'll write it
Mm.
down.
Okay. I'm sorry. Right now, because I had to switch devices, I can't find. Because we were supposed to play a game.
Okay.
Okay.
And this game, all right, this will just have to. It was so nice and tidy where I had it. Okay, so this game is just guess the generation, but I'm going to introduce them for anybody who does not know. There are seven currently, and I wonder if the very first one that is listed, that's just where they started tracking, or that's where we may have people still alive, right? Because
I
of
think
course
it's
life.
where they started tracking.
Okay. And then yeah, so we're at seven, like right now currently. And the first one going backward or coming forward is the greatest generation or the GI generation. And GI because of the war way back when. That's people born from in 19 I'm sorry, yes, 1901 and until 1927. And then we
That is
have
very
this.
cocky.
Why you
Wait,
say
to
that?
27?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's
That is
Why
weird.
very.
cocky?
That is very the greatest.
Is that what
Yes,
they say?
yeah, they are considered the greatest generation. And it is because, oh shoot, I used to know this. Hang on, I'll tell you why in a moment.
Maybe because they advanced so quickly in that first quarter of the decade.
You got me.
Um they oh wait. Um
No, 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 no. First of all, we got to stay on time. Now, this is my first time recording. Uh,
you mean
no
hosting?
more. And what? Yeah, that too. But plus, y'all can't go looking up stuff like that because that's a part of the game. So let me just
Oh,
continue. All right.
Oh.
oh,
So now,
Oh.
okay. So the second one, so that was the GI generation or the greatest generation. We're gonna give them that because we honor our ancestors and we honor our elders. So we're gonna allow them that. 1901 to 1927. Then we have the silent generation. That would
Mhm.
be 1928 to 1945.
oh. Mm-hmm.
Come on down to our baby boomer generation. That's 1946 to 1964. Then
Mhm.
Generation X, 1965 to 1980. And then we have our beautiful millennials or Generation Y. That will
Mhm.
be 1981 to 1996. And then Gen Z, Generation Z. And then I did not know they also had this name, but it immediately hit me why. The I Gen. It's a small lowercase I, Gen,
Mhm.
1997 to 2010, and then we got our babies,
Wait a minute.
Gen.
Wait a
No,
minute. You
hmm,
said the millennials and the Gen Z is the same?
Gen Y,
No. Millennials are
millennials
Gen
and Gen O.
Y.
Right? Did I say
Okay.
Z?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, my apologies. Yeah, it would be Gen Y.
Gen
Well,
Z
what
is
is
after
Gen
them.
Z? What is the Gen
Gen
Z number?
Gen Z, also known as I Gen, is
Okay.
1997 to 2010,
Okay.
and then we have the Alpha generation, Generation Alpha, 2010 to 2024. And then, of course, it stops there because 25 would be a whole nother set of folk. And I imagine they would be
The beta,
betas.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
would
think so?
imagine they would be beta. Yeah,
Yeah.
because beta comes after alpha.
They got
Okay.
lazy.
So there you
Ooh,
go.
she said they
they
got.
they
Well,
cheating because they already know they already got a word for all of those for the next 26 letters of the alphabet. So they done got lazy. Alpha, beta.
I guess I'll make it easier.
Yeah.
So the game, I'm gonna name some or call off some characteristics and see if you guys can name off which one it might be.
Well,
Oh,
hold
okay.
on. I'm still writing them down. Um, what was 46 through 64?
That's the baby boomers.
Those are baby
Okay.
boomers. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
We
Let's
good?
go. Yeah.
Um. Oh
I
wait,
don't
did you
like
do the
this
silent
list.
generation?
Yeah, she said 28 through
I did,
45.
Okay.
which is exactly who's okay. I see what happened. On this particular list, they don't have the GI generation, the greatest generation, nor do they have the alphas. So
GI.
Oh
that's fine.
yeah,
Yes,
and
GI
then
would be the greatest.
and actually, John, they do have it's Generation Beta, and they're born between 2025 and 2039.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had imagined it's probably listed somewhere, but I was good on this just because
They ain't alive yet.
they just they just a glimmer in their father's eye right now.
I'm
Or
so
in
s-
their. Wait, I can't say that.
Well, no, some of them actually might be in gestation.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I was gonna.
yeah. We
I was
got
about
some
to say
pregnant
something
mamas
else.
walking around.
I
All
was about to
right.
say something else, but let's keep it PG.
Yeah, let's.
Okay,
So
what's the
this,
game?
because of the list that I found, and for the sake of time, we're only working from the silent generation to the Gen Z. We ain't even including none of the
Uh,
babies, which is fine.
okay,
So
wait, we're not in. Okay, wait, isn't the greatest generation before the silent generation?
Yeah, she
yes,
excluding
it
them.
is. We're
Yeah, so you're
excluding the
excluding them
number
too.
one and number
Okay,
seven. Yeah,
okay,
just because I didn't realize initially that I had pulled up. I'm having to do this part on the fly just because of my device. So
okay.
we'll just work with the five in the middle. Um, so which one of the five was concerned about job security?
Baby boomers?
Um,
Marva got
No.
it. Baby boomers. Yep,
Oh,
that's
that was
yeah.
that's right.
correct.
That's right. Yep, job security. What about these folk right here? It was the end of the Cold War.
When was
It's the
that?
Reagan Gorbachev era. The introduction of the first PC.
I'm gonna say that's Generation X.
Millennials?
No, I'm gonna
Yes.
say
Ding
Generation
ding
X
ding, Auntie Destiny. Yes. Yep.
because
Gen X.
that's during my time, and I'm Gen X.
Let me
Hmm.
see. Oh, 85. I mean 1980. I got
Yeah.
85 here. Okay.
All right, what about these folks right here? So their concerns might be energy crisis, mobile devices, global
M-
focus.
Gen
Millennials.
Millennials, Gen Y.
Mm-mm.
Oh
Gen Z?
no,
Not
no, Gen Z because
Gen Z?
Gen Z.
they're the I generation. So yeah, they're all about the
Yep.
technology and stuff. I forgot about that. Yeah, Gen Z.
Do they
Yeah.
call it the I generation because of iPhone,
Yeah.
Yeah,
iPod?
Yep.
Okay.
yes,
Internet is what the I was.
yes, the
Yeah.
inner, yeah.
And I would also say, well, no, that might be
But
some other
yeah,
ones too.
but I would
I
think
was gonna say
millennials
I,
would be
me,
concerned
but that's
about that
millennial.
is, but go ahead.
No, we're not. No, no, I'm sorry. It was a joke on the millennials, and I said I wasn't gonna pick on them people.
We always pick on the
They're our
millennials
children.
because it's
I
fun.
know. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do
It's
it.
too
I don't want to do it.
they
I was just
make
thinking
they make
about
it
the
so
I.
easy.
The I should be for them because they're very me. But you know, it's all right. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna leave I with the Gen Zers.
Okay.
With that being said, who fixed the gender roles? They came up with rock and roll, nuclear families,
X.
nuclear
Oh, baby
I'm
boomers.
gonna say the baby boomers.
Mm-mm.
No,
It
I
was the
would
Second
no
silent.
World War,
no.
It
Oh,
was
rationing,
the greatest
it
generation.
was sad. No, that
I
was
mean
silent.
the silent
the
generation.
silent. Yep, that's them.
Because I forgot she got rid of the greatest, so the silent.
Yep. All right. This is on communication.
Rations.
Who were still writing formal letters?
X.
I would say greatest.
It's either X or millennial.
I said writing. Marva, no, you know them people don't write.
Millennials don't write nothing,
They don't even
Well
know how to
then
sign their name. Unfortunately, it's so sad. I can't take it
then
right?
anymore.
X.
Letter writing,
No, I'm gonna say
not texting.
Oh well then silent.
I'm going to
Silent.
say the
Marva
silent
got
or
it.
okay.
Yeah, because remember now they were with the war and everything, and there was a lot of letter writing going on,
So then
even
that's
just
why I was
locally.
silent.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there was that. That could be why. That's the thought. Now what about? We're just going down the list here. The telephone,
Baby boomers.
baby
Mm,
boomers,
yeah.
email and text messaging,
That's us. X.
and
Millennials.
We had them pages too
X,
on our sides. Yes, we did. And
X.
then
Yeah,
we came on down texting and social media.
millennials.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, and then now our babies have handhelds, the
Yeah,
Gen Z.
Yeah,
Gen
Yep.
Z.
alphas. Yeah, or the Gen Zs. Yeah.
And this is notable. You don't have to guess, but I just want to say it was face to face with the silent generation, face to face ideally, but telephone or email if required. That was our baby boomers. Text messaging or email. We learned that that will be Generation X, and then it's online and mobile. So we were getting less and less social every time. And then now we went kind of. I didn't think about this, but when I saw it just now, FaceTime is actually bringing people back face to face, but just differently. So it almost went back like full circle because we
Well,
started off face to face.
everything is a cycle. It
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, cool. That was kind of cool game. We had to play it a little differently, but it worked out.
How
Um,
many I won? I beat Auntie.
I wasn't keeping score because it's Generation Us.
I
Remember?
know.
So you
Wow.
you trying to
Okay,
make me start some
Cancer.
mess here.
Okay,
I
Cancer. You're up against two Capricorns. You better watch
was
it.
about to say she's outnumbered today,
But y'all
honey.
know, but cancers don't go down without a fight. Y'all know that. I don't care how many it is. Bring them all.
Well, if we run straight, all you can do is go side to side. So
Right?
And
it
I
ain't gonna really
survive.
work out for you.
I
It's not.
survive. I can dodge a bullet now. I survive. I might be broken, but I'm alive.
It'll work well if you're being chased by an alligator.
I
So
survive.
the next question as far as Generation Us is because y'all already kind of spoke on the millennials. We're just not gonna go there. We have some healing to do. I think there's just some healing to do. We're gonna move on. What I want to know though is your most notable or unique thing that you appreciate about being, because the three of us are of Generation X. What is the most unique thing about our generation for you guys, or the thing that you appreciate the most?
Our work ethic.
Work ethic.
Yeah.
I would say I don't know. I want to say maybe yeah, we had work ethics, but I don't think we worked like the people in the past. I think we begin to slow down to try to correct some of the things from the past. Like we wanted to face some old fears, which is not always easy to do. We were
Yeah.
willing to do it earlier in age than the older generation because them older folks can be stubborn.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
they could be
So I
stubborn.
think with that we
And
embraced.
our
Go
healing.
ahead.
Yeah. And
I
our
was about to
healing.
say, yeah.
We are a generation of healing.
Hmm.
We want to change and do things differently
That's
from
what I
the things
mean.
that we've been taught,
That's what I meant.
especially those of us who have been latchkey kids, or or grew up in, or who have been severely traumatized. We want to.
That's what I mean. Like we're
Yeah.
willing to go back and correct some things. Like we were the first to start doing that. The younger generations under us, they do it, but they do it quicker than we can. But we started it. The older generations, they didn't want to. They was just like, well, what's done is done. Just leave it in the past. No,
Right.
no, we're not leaving it in the past, baby. We finna fix
So
this here and now.
So with that being said, we're gonna move on. I had another question under there, but that actually is a good segue into the next subtopic under
Okay,
Generation Us, and it's about family and cultural tradition. And of course, we always think about bar mitzvah, which is Jewish. Quinceañera, which is for our Spanish brothers and sisters.
Latin.
Latin, I always get those confused. No disrespect to anybody, but I was seeing how quinceañero is becoming popular because it wasn't ever really a thing for boys, but now it's gaining popular. It's gaining some traction, right?
Mhm.
But what some people don't know or may not know that in a lot of groups they have different rites of passage or the coming of age ceremonies or processes that young people have to go through entering adulthood or signifying that they are about to enter adulthood. But in the African American population, some of us actually practice some of those things. And that would be working more with men in your community, them taking you under their wing, doing things like apprenticeships and just studying under them, or women. We used to have the finishing schools a lot more than now. I think is a really beautiful idea. We should bring those back where you actually, and not to say that all women should just be cooking or doing things, but we should be skilled. My opinion. I don't think any of us will really go against having skills, right? So this was where young ladies would learn those homemaking things, because even if you're going to work outside the home, you should know how to maintain your home. Yes. And that was, those were things I was looking at as far as culturally. But then we have those other things: the birth, puberty, adulthood, marriage, eldership, and then death. That's common between all of everyone. But my question, the first question is, what traditions do you admire about other culture? Because those are just the broader or the more famous ones. But are there anything that you admire about other, even religions, things that you admire?
I have a really good friend who's Jewish, and I love how they do Hanukkah, where they have the ceremony for Hanukkah. And her family's not Orthodox, so they didn't do they didn't follow the Orthodox. I can't remember which branch of Judaism she is, but yeah, I've always admired that, the way that they performed the lighting of the menorah. It's really cool, very
Mhm.
fascinating.
That one reminds me of Kwanzaa. I really, it's very new compared to everything else, but that's another in the African American culture that our family has celebrated here and there. Like I have all the stuff, but I haven't always put it up, admittedly. But I really love it. It's like 7 days that it's celebrated. Very, very, very much. Very. It's a lot like Hanukkah. I'll just say that. So
Oh,
Auntie Destiny, you can actually take that on. You're already in the family. Funny that we never talked about that, but we are part of this show. For those of you who don't know, it was we only met Auntie Destiny. She's our youngest. She's the youngest sister of our mom, and we only met a few years ago. So a part of this show was actually getting to know one another better. So
a
that would kind
few
of
years
explain.
ago, I
Yeah, it
mean,
wasn't that long ago compared to all
it
the other life I've
was
lived.
it was what, 10 years? That's more than a few years, babe.
It,
But
that's
we're
not that
old.
long though. Yeah. First of all, Marva,
Okay,
you're old. I'm not gonna say all of that.
when you say a few years, I think like a couple of years, but then that's my autistic brain. So
Well, maybe it just
3, 4.
seemed
No,
like a
you're
few
right.
years. Times
It has
times move
passed.
when you're having fun.
There you
right,
go. But it doesn't seem that long. It doesn't seem 10 years ago.
It don't.
And then like
yeah. Well,
you spend
actually,
so long, and that you never know anybody. Knowing them all your life, you still never know a person. So like, and then you live on the, not just on
on
the
the
West
West
Coast, but Northwest. I ain't coming over there because y'all do get very cold. And we're all the
Pacific.
way on the bottom on the East. We're Florida
Oh,
and you're Washington State. So like we
okay,
don't have the opportunity to even bring that 10 years. Our 10 years might be what, 2 years for real? If you think
right.
about the distance and all the stuff, even though we talk a lot, I
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
even know.
okay. Correction. 11 years, because I
See?
met you when my dad passed, and it was 20, and that was in 2013.
Okay, so three
So
years. We've known each other for a good
so
3 years for real.
so
Right?
okay, 11 years. You just gonna
Yeah.
bypass all the other ones. Okay, I
I'm
gotcha.
saying, because given the time and space, I don't know. It just seems, yeah, we
Yeah,
don't get to
but
see, yeah.
yeah, but you were but traditions. I so like one of the traditions that we had growing up was because I grew up an only child, I as soon as it was midnight on Christmas, I was like, okay, it's Christmas. Can I open my presents now? And so I got to open my presents at midnight while everyone else was sleeping. And then after I opened all my present and play with them, then I would go to bed, and then I would get up and Nana and I would make pancakes together. So that was our tradition.
Nice. Auntie Marva.
A tradition from another culture. I like how in my husband is Nigerian, and I like how in their culture they always reference the elder community, and they hold them to a very high esteem. So whenever there's a birthday, or whenever it's usually typically a birthday, there's always this huge celebration. When the younger people have a birthday, it's just, cake, a gift or two, they come together. But when it's an older person, like, there's a full out celebration. Like, they really celebrate them. When a
Mm,
baby is born, like, the elder person, like, gets to love on that baby the most. When it's just all about the elder, all
Mm,
about the elder. And they just, like, they really fully truly celebrate the elder, like, they on their birthdays. And it's pretty cool. When my husband's father, he just passed away a couple months ago, but his birthday was December 25th. So and his brothers
stop saying names.
and so my husband and his brother and his siblings, they would either do a big feast, or they would take him somewhere. And he was so cute. He was so cute. I actually got some videos from the very last one, when me and my mom was there, and we ate dinner with him at a big festival outside. It was pretty cool. It was
Oh,
pretty cool.
that is
that is
cool.
nice. I think that I really like that for you, that you got to experience firsthand something that you appreciate of other people. And that's why, it's encouraged that we travel so that we can experience more, because the world is so big and broad. And my thing, we've talked about this kind of before, is taking all the best stuff, and then that's what we use to move forward, because no one group or one people has all of the right answers. Everybody has their issue, but there are things that tend to work. Then you have to make adjustments as time moves on, and whatever, we get technology squished in there, and then people like millennials squished in there, and all the stuff. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? We're not gonna
Yes, you
do
keep
that.
saying you're
We're
not
not
going to
gonna
pick
do
on the
that because we're
millennials,
not. We're not. It's not right. It's not right.
but
Those
you
are our
keep
kids.
but you keep picking. That's why we should pick on them, because they are our
Get it all
kids.
out.
Yes,
Well, you know what?
I pick on my
Let's.
kid all the time.
Yeah,
That's what we have them
I'm
for.
gonna not. I
That's
know.
what
No,
that's
I
what
had
we
mine for grandchildren. I had my kids so I can have grandkids. I thought
no,
we
well,
made that abundantly clear from the beginning. I
I
don't
didn't have
know.
a
Are you not paying
choice.
attention here?
I was paying attention, but I'm just saying, mine is for me to pick on. She don't listen to the show, so she won't know what I said.
That's a
She don't
shame.
listen.
That's a shame.
So I for the next one, I actually have kind of a story time. I've been in my Bible more, as both of you know. And the story that has there's a lot of fascinating drama. I mean, some serious drama and filth in the Bible that these people is going through. And just wow, not
What?
even different than today, because we'd be doing the same stuff. I had to actually think about, what? I've done that actually, but we're gonna leave that part alone. We're just gonna talk about these other folks right here, Jacob and Leah and Rachel. So Jacob was sent off by he's the I think he was the grandson of Abraham, as a matter of fact. But he was sent off to find a wife. He and his brother was in a quarrel. His brother was Esau, and they were in disputes. And so mom encouraged dad to encourage Jacob, to tell Jacob actually to go and live somewhere else near our kinsmen and find yourself a wife over there until your brother anger dies down. So while there, he did find a wife, and actually he ended up with two wives. So what happened was he went to the father, because they did things, I will say, in order back then. you ask for permission. You don't just take nobody's daughter because somebody needed to be accountable of you. Are you even worthy to be having a wife? That day, my opinion, but I think that was in order. We need to kind of get back some of those things, right? But anyway, he went to Rachel's father and asked for her hand, and he was like, "Yeah, but I need you to do some work for me." So he promised to work for him, and he did. He worked for 7 whole years. Then Dad brought his bride to him. He laid with her, get up the next day in the daylight, and he sees it is not the sister that he asked for at all. It was Leah, her older sister. He wasn't in love with her. He didn't even like her. None of the stuff. But he had done, quote unquote, I won't even say defiled her because they were married. He had been with her, right? Y'all following me?
Yes.
So now he has his wife that he didn't ask for, but of course, as a man, I'm gonna go back to dad and like, look, this is not what we agreed on. Pops told this man, oh, I forgot to tell you, it's our tradition over here that the oldest one is married off first. I'm gonna pause right there. What do y'all think about that?
Pops was being slick and he didn't want to let Rachel go.
Right? He really did it.
I
Rachel was
read
the
that.
favorite.
I read that as a child, but all those details weren't in there. The implications were not in there. Now, as an adult, I'm looking at this like that joker right there. It would have been some furniture moving around up in here. Like,
Dust
well, what are you
flying.
doing?
So here's my question with that, because you made the statement that we need to go back to the men asking the fathers for their daughter's hand. But who do you ask when there is no father?
Great question, because of course I done thought of that. So a lot of it falls back on building a foundation. And I am of the firm belief, like Marvel will tell you, growing up, I never shielded my children from people assisting me with departing a word into them, helping with them. And I fully took responsibility. Marvel, am I making anything up right now?
No.
I was fully there in their life and have made all the mistakes that come with that. I won't say all the mistakes, I ain't did all that, but I've made some very grand ones that I admit to right now today. But however, I've always believed in community. And like I've never felt the need to say, well, I did this myself, just because much of their childhood I was a single mom, but I was a single woman. I had all sorts of support, right? If
Hmm.
you don't have a dad, there's uncles, your brothers. Even though my younger brother, he was younger, he would have been stood in that space if that's how our culture was. Male
Mm.
friends. I have male friends. As I've had issues with my son since he's even been an adult, and he turned 30, as a matter of fact, yesterday. I've been able to go to my platonic, just male friends and ask them, why is my adult son acting like this? And they've been able to impart a word. Those are people that we would have if we structured things properly. And I'll go another step further. So at one point, I ran my own homeschool that Auntie Marva assisted with. She was one of the teachers on our board. And before I went into that, I actually went through womanhood training, which was a rites of passage for already grown women. And it was in the from an African centered perspective. And in that is where I was introduced into the idea of don't ask nobody if they're going to be your child's godparent or whatever. You tell people what they need to be in your child's life. Because why are you going to the club with these 5 friends of yours and you don't trust any of them with your children? That always sat with me. And I actually didn't have any of those, but it made me think about that. What did I actually have those kind of people in my life? That sort of thing. Like it should be more than you just have to establish that for yourself. And it needs to be on both sides. Like he should have men that he's accountable for in his life too. Like who's helping him out to be a man? Who does he look to? But we're not taught these things in this day and age. We're taught to, if it feels good, go with it. And nobody's answering to anybody. But there are folks walking around with some kind of wisdom and whatever, and we need to gravitate towards them and glean off of them. And then like introduce, I'm gonna say this one last thing and then I'll stop. As far as my family, and we have a lot of the trauma and hurt like everybody else. But the one thing that I can say about my family, my siblings, we've tried to be there for each other, and we've grown although yes, with our hurt, we tend to stay together and try to work it out, and we're working it out in real time together out loud, right? And we laugh together. We are jokey joke, and how people say, I'm not marrying your family, I'm marrying you. I've always felt the need to introduce people to my family because we're so accepting. And I always felt like if they don't really vibe, then that ain't the person for me. And the two times I went against that and kept them jokers around has caused me pain that I still feel to this day. And that wasn't going to my dad, but that was bringing them around people that I trust and love. So maybe no, not a dad, Auntie Destiny, but yes, people that you trust and love, because it's not always your family at all. I know that was a lot, but there you go.
Okay.
Wow. The one that I kept around that y'all didn't like was something that I regretted. It was some of my biggest heartache too. Wow, I never even thought about it like that.
Well, I've only had two relationships and I don't regret either of them. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm the oddball in that respect.
My oldest brother, he because my father was deceased, my grandparents were deceased, so I brought my husband to my oldest brother and our stepdad, who recently passed away this year too. And it wasn't even me, it wasn't even my decision, it was my husband's decision. He was like, I need to speak with them, I need to talk with them because that is their tradition.
Mm,
They don't play about that over there, they do the diaries, pay diaries, and ask for the hand in marriage and things of that nature. They do all of that. And I was like, you ain't gotta ask. I'm grown. He was like, no, no, I need to speak with them. And because at first my brother was against it. He didn't want nothing to do with it. He didn't care. But because of that, I think that was kind of the turning point when that he just started to think about it and was kind of like, okay, maybe maybe you got something. Maybe he is decent. And our stepdad, it was just crazy, crazy as a bat. But he just loved that. He felt so welcome, and he just felt so like he just felt so esteemed that somebody came to him to ask for his stepdaughter's hand in marriage, ask him for his stepdaughter's hand in marriage. And so yeah, so I again, my father was deceased already, and the grandfather that raised us, he was deceased. So
okay.
yeah,
and
they
there's
stepped up.
nothing stopping us from going, because look at what we're doing. It ain't working by and large, so why not try something different? Why not look at some of those things that did work? And even like what Auntie Marva just said, like even though our brother and step pops was not raised that way, or maybe step pops was, but it's just done away with because he's from a different time. We didn't have the discussion, but because it's not something that they were currently practicing, but it was happening in real time in front of them, it brought something to their spirit, because there's something about that your spirit knows to be on course, on the path of something better, that even like our flesh or what we're practicing every day, something else just takes over. It just feels right or feels good on a different level than all this outwardly microwave stuff that we participate in. We have so many things we can try, so many examples to look at. But I hope that answered your question, Auntie Destiny.
Yeah, I was just curious. Just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, continuing with the story, I had one to ask y'all about keeping your word, but we're gonna skip that part because what
Keeping
actually
our
happened
word.
was, yeah, keeping your, not your word, but in the story. Why
Oh.
so because like I said, Jacob, he worked those 7 years, and then he was blessed with Leah, which if you skip on through the story, she gave him 11, no, she gave him six sons, and having a son was a big deal. Six sons, one daughter, right? But the father of Leah said, if you really want Rachel, I'm gonna need you to work for 7 more years. You know what Jacob did? He worked for 7 more years for that woman. I thought that is just a beautiful thing. So he's now giving this man 14 years plus, because they didn't start off with just day one. He was there for a while before they even went into this, and he
Oh,
proved
poor
himself
Leah.
worthy to even ask. It was
Poor
poor Leah,
Leah.
because he didn't seem to care anything about her or her children. If you'll read and gather context up from the story,
I remember
every
that.
last one of her children, it says that she named name these boys. I'm gonna name you Levi because I'm in the day of my sorrow. I'm gonna name you Simeon, and these are their real names, Simeon, because and it was all something negative that she was going through because she didn't have the love of her husband. Maybe if I keep having this house full of kids, I'll get my husband's love. Meanwhile, the one that he loved, she was barren for years.
Wow.
And we know Joseph, right? That ended
Yeah.
up being her son. She had two sons, Joseph and Benjamin, those youngest two. But they came way after all the other kids, right? And we know Joseph was the one over in Egypt that they made all the cartoon, the movie, all the stuff. So that's what we're
Yep.
talking about.
Yeah.
His parents. And but I was gonna ask about Jacob keeping his word and then dad having to keep his word. But we're going to skip forward a little bit. And I really want to, this brings us to the third topic because I just saw these and it's on generational curses. Because if I'm interpreting this story right, Jacob ignored his children and that wife so much that it allowed them to get into things that they had no business.
Okay.
Dinah, if you know anything about that woman in the
Dinah
Bible,
gets
that
into trouble.
yeah, we had that story in our Bible storybook as kids, and it was so watered down. But when you get your Bible and you read what, and you like, that's what happened to her for real. So they lived near a town called Canaan. Many people have heard of that place as far as name. These kids, they were quote unquote better than them. You do not go over there associating with those people kind of situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dinah, being the only girl, she probably longed to play with some little girls, some young ladies. So she went over there and she hanging out with these girls, getting into mischief, whatever they were doing. The reason why they were not really allowed to hang out with them, the ruler of that area's son, and somewhere in that, probably he then wanted to marry her. But I would imagine that he wanted to marry her not because he had got out that he raped her, because he could do what he wanted to do. He was the ruler's son, but he was really fond of her. And I imagine he was fond of her because she had spent so much time over there. That's what I gathered from that, because he went to his father and was like, please make this happen for me. He wasn't like, cover this out up for me. It says in the scripture that he was like, please, dad, hey, I really like her though. So dad went to Jacob and asked. Now it got out that he raped her, but he went to Jacob and he was more or less like, my son really wants to just marry her. Back then, and that's what we were saying about going to somebody for their daughter. Because of course you would get dealt with sniffing up around somebody's daughter. You don't just do that, right? Jacob just said, sure, you can marry her. No
Oh
consequence.
no.
No, nothing. But it goes again as to how he regarded Leah. He didn't really care for mama like that.
Oh.
The sons, nothing. Remember, it talks about how he even when the other one was born, he get the one the what is his name, Joseph, he made him this beautiful coat and all of these things. Normally they took the oldest son under their wing. None of that. It was
He made
this
it
young
into
man.
the
But
the
that
seven
again, way down the line, all these
seven
things
children
happen.
late 8 children later.
Yeah.
He ended up with two of their, like, one maidservant from Rachel and one also from Leah. They had children with them as well because they did that kind of thing. But all these his kids, it kind of broke my heart because I had a different thought just because we were given the soft story. I thought more of Jacob than this. But no, this is
Yeah.
just what he was. He was just like, yeah, go and take her, right? So the brothers, her three older brothers, they didn't really like that, especially the second and third one. That would be Levi and Simeon. They were like, wait, what?
We need to avenge our sister.
We're going to avenge our sister, yes. So what they did is they went to the men, the ruler, the son, and all the men over there. They were like, no, actually they went to the ruler and the son, and they were like, okay, you want to marry our sister, this is the deal. I know Pop said, yeah, go ahead, but hold on, hold it, because people did respect them as a family, right? They said, would you in order for this to happen, we'll go ahead and marry up y'all women, and y'all can marry more of our women, but we're gonna have to become a tribe, like, and we need something to make us one. So what y'all gonna have to do is get circumcised.
Ooh.
And that must have been a very beautiful woman and a whole bunch of beautiful women in their camp, because they decided, yes, we'll do that. And all the men in our camp will do that. That blew me too. Like, wait, what? Y'all would do all of that? They must have been gorgeous, right? But while they were healing from their circumcision, Simeon and Levi came in their camp and killed every man
Oh, wow.
of age, all of
I
them.
remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why that happened, to avenge their sister. And they took her back out of their house because he already had her. So they went and they stole their sister back after murdering all these folks. So, of course, Jacob is upset. Y'all done brought, shame to my house and all these things right here. But Pops was supposed to handle that. And it would have been understood if he did, because
But
that
he
guy was
did.
wrong. But he did not. So, with that, all these years later, because they lived for years back then. Let me get to the end of where, and I have a question for you guys, for you ladies. Years later, it doesn't give like all the middle of what's going on, but on his deathbed, and it was tradition that all the kids gather around, and then especially the eldest one, you get blessed with taking up the baton and all of those things. That's not what he did. He cursed all of his boys except
What?
for the youngest ones, and that would be
Jit is
Jude.
wilding.
Yeah, he was still bitter all these years later. Mind you, it shows in the text how they changed, because remember when they went to Egypt to get grain during that famine, how he took to his brothers, they were repentant. They even talked about their brother who had died because they thought he was dead. They didn't know they were talking to him. They were fully repentant. They had done grew up, they changed, they all this stuff. But on his deathbed, going back to that, he cursed them and said, Simeon and Levi, y'all, all your generation is gonna be full of anger, since that's how y'all wanted to live your life. And that's not how they lived their life though, right? My question to you all, because I recently understood that that's where Moses came from. And if you know about Moses, he had some anger issues. When he broke them tablets, he shouldn't have did that. But he was just that mad when he saw them worshiping that golden calf. He came down and slammed it. Pow. When he was Moses, the king of Egypt, or whatever he was, his position over there, he wasn't king of his I think the Pharaoh's daughter raised him. That's what it was. And he was kind of a
He was a
free free
prince.
free free Israelite roaming around, so he was able to see some things. And he saw one of the Egyptians manhandling a couple of his people, his real people, and he snapped and killed the person. Like, he would snap and do stuff. He had anger issues. There was a time when it says that God told him to speak to a rock pour some water. So
And
they
he hit
did
it.
all the, yeah, he hit it
Yeah.
twice hard. Pow, pow. And he was always doing something out of anger. He had anger issues. So the reason how I happened upon this story and kept going back, because I was like, whoa, because over the past couple of months, I've been really getting these generational curses and really looking at things, right? And how
Hmm.
they do flow through your lineage if there's no correction. It's almost like it alters your DNA, and it's there, it is with you. And people may not believe in that, but if you look back, like, that's why somebody might say, wow, you remind me of grandma so and so, because you have those characteristics, and they be good or bad, curses or blessed, not just curses, right?
Right.
So, but anyway, that was my question for that. And y'all want to go and y'all want to study that story, but
Wait,
it's
what is the
wild.
question?
Yeah. What was the
The
question?
oh, that's where I was. Okay, so
We're still
the
waiting for
the
the
I'm
question.
yeah, I'm sorry, because the story is full of so many things I even left off. But
Auntie?
Lord, listen,
Right.
that story. Somebody need to make a real movie. So the question is, what were some of the things that were spoken over you
Oh,
that you've either had to overcome or that have served you?
Auntie, you want to go first? Mine ain't
Mm,
good.
mine aren't good either. Let's see. I'm not going to amount to anything. I'm gonna grow up and be a lady of the night, although I didn't know what that was at the time because
Same.
I was like 10. What else? Oh, as far as I'm concerned, you're not my daughter. My daughter's dead. You're just a stranger living in my house. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, and then those were as a child, but as an adult, I was told that I was negative and therefore I would never be happy. But I took that with a grain of salt because the person who said that they don't know me, even though they are a relative. They don't know me, and they just didn't realize that the negativity that I was feeding off of their negativity. So yeah.
Hmm.
Go ahead, Auntie Marva.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
that
those are pretty bad.
the woman of the night one, that one was very very often said, you ain't gonna never have nothing but a very dark colored gluteus maximus opening, and just you're a liar, you're a lie.
What happened?
You a liar. Sorry, they my family on my dad's side is having their family call too, and they're blowing up my phone, so it keep cutting
Oh,
out. But that, and then oh, I'm a demon. That was the worst one.
oh, I
Um
got that one.
I'm evil and I'm a demon. And with that one, and Auntie Janisha knows this too, I would I'm a cancer. And we are the type that if you make us angry, we'll go to any length to appease whatever we're feeling at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
In between those moments, I would bend over backwards because I just wanted them to like me. I tried to make straight A's. I tried to keep the whole house clean. I tried to do all my chores and everybody else's chores. I tried just to be the perfect person. But then there was a boiling point that would occur, and it would turn into, as good as I tried to be, when the boiling point happened, I would be on the complete opposite end of that spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would purposely try to become that evil person that they said I was. But
Mm-hmm.
it didn't happen all the time. They were very far away from each other, the incidences. But when the incidents occurred, they were so bad
Hmm.
that they were unforgettable.
Yes, yes. That whole remark about, oh, I'm sorry, were you finished?
I was laughing because it's not funny, but
It is. It's not funny. It wasn't funny in the moment, but looking back, it's funny now. I get it.
yeah, it was, well, because some of the stuff that I did, I really needed a fresh whooping. But it was like I was pushed. You know, people, children can be provoked, and
Mhm.
I was provoked, and when it got there, it was on and popping, and it was just what Cardi B said, when it's up, then it's stuck. Like I was just up there, we're going all out. And I hated it. I hated it. I really, really hated it. And that was to answer the other part of Auntie Janisha's question. That was that one thing right there was the biggest thing that I fought against when I got older, because that was mostly, I didn't care in my childhood and in my middle, like in my teens. I didn't care. Like when I got angry, it's on.
Yeah.
But when I became a young adult, I remember saying, I don't ever want to do this anymore because that's not who I am. They said that was who I was. They always said
Hallelujah.
that that's who I am, but that's not me. And I remember, and there was pros and cons to the choice that I made at that moment, because then it went to, I stopped defending myself altogether. So I saw a lot of hardships because of that. Like I got to a point to where I let a lot of people run over me because I didn't want the evil side to come out.
Right.
I didn't want to be evil anymore. I didn't want to be a demon anymore. I didn't want to be, that bad person anymore. So I just didn't defend myself at all. But I can honestly say I wasn't doing a lot of devious stuff later on in life. There were moments that would happen, and that I would, like, it just be like, all right, I got to get something off my chest. Let me get some
Right.
energy off my chest. But it again, it was from being provoked. I would be pushed, buttons pushed, button pushed, and I would be provoked. But it wouldn't. But even in the midst of all that, it was never to the extreme of things happening from how it was when I was younger. I never wanted to. I never wanted to get back to that point. But to tie into the whole conversation that we're talking about generational curses, I realized the level of anger that I had whenever it would get there. I realized that that was also anger that I saw in my parents and my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would
That's
think about that. I've heard stories. I wasn't really close with my father, but I've heard from his mother some of the things that he's done, and even some of my cousins. And I got this one cousin, she would always laugh and be like, you show your daddy child. But I've heard some of the things that he's done, and it just makes me think like, wow, I realize when I get mad why I'm so angry to the extreme that I'm mad. Or I remember some incidences that would happen when we were young with my mom, with our mom, or with with my grandparent, and I'd be like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I just got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to be that person anymore. And I'm still fighting to find a balance in between protecting myself and not letting people run over me,
Mm-hmm.
so that, but also knowing that it is okay to defend myself, but not going
right.
too far and becoming, the demon.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly why I asked the question, and only one generation removed, because sometimes we don't understand that we can then pass those things on to our children. So that means that yes, it came from their grandparent to our kids, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought about that with Moses. He was a whole three generations after Joshua. That was a great, I think, great great grandfather that put that on him. He spoke that down. He's because he said your generations, your kids. He say all of y'all, even
Yeah.
understanding they were his too. He didn't care. So it matters what comes out of our mouth, what we speak over our children, because it will affect those. Yes, if you're one of those people that, yeah, you might not have a great relationship with your kids, but you could be damning the relationship you have with your grandkids. You might want to be a great, they might see you as, but you've done something to them because of your mouth. And now
Or,
Jacob
y'all
was
or
can't
your
be
just
or
or your
won't be
actions.
as close. Yeah.
Jacob was just mad at his father-in-law, and he never got his lick back.
So
That's
No,
my
what
I
thing
happened.
is
no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
my thing is
It
this. I
wasn't. I don't think it
mean,
was that.
my
I think
thing
he was
is
just a
this.
bitter
Jacob.
man.
My thing is this. Jacob had a choice,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
he could have said, because I look at it as a contract. So Leah's dad broke that contract, and at that point, Jacob could have walked away. He didn't have to stay 7 more years and be in that anger. He had a
I don't think
choice.
he. Okay, so if you go and read it, it really doesn't show that he was angry all his life. Like he did, like all the rest of the story was all good, except for he kind of just didn't regard her and those children. And you got the sense of that every time she had a child by what it says she named the child. She's because, and then maybe now my husband will love me, and then maybe now my husband will appreciate another son, and maybe now da da da, and I'm gonna name this child because da da da. So there
No,
was that, but I don't think he was really angry. I think he kind of probably just ignored her, because she even came to her sister at one point and said, "Listen, I would like to be with my husband sometime." Because the Rachel came to her at one point and asked, "Could I get some of your son something?" She was gathering for him. She said, "First you take my husband," which means he wasn't even dealing with her. "And now you want to take my son's," whatever it was. And then Rachel was like, "Well, how about I let you have him for the night?" And that's when she got pregnant again. And this was, I think that was like child 4, 5, one of those like that.
but
You have to
right,
go and read the story to kind of
no,
get the
but
context. But what I'm saying is he carried this, even though he might have been like that. He didn't have to curse them. That's my point. He
that's what I'm
carried that all the way to his death.
that's what I'm saying.
He was
You would have to
bitter.
be you would have to be okay, bitter. Okay, I said angry, you say bitter. But you
Both of them.
you have to be, you have to, that's a lot of anger to carry,
Hmm.
to have, in order to curse someone. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. He had a choice. He didn't have to stay. He could have left Leah a long time ago.
But that's not what
And
you did
instead of,
as a man, though.
and well,
And
okay,
plus,
I
that
guess
would have
back
also
then.
brought. You see that they were big on names, and it spoke a lot to you if you did that. You didn't walk away from your responsibility under no circumstances. Now you might have been mean to it or whatever, but you still took care of it. Everything that you took on.
Yeah.
That's, we've talked about polygamy on here, and that was the one thing that I always felt like I don't care what somebody else is doing. If you're gonna, even a dog, if you're gonna have a pet, they should not be chained up in the backyard all the time like that. Like whatever
Right.
you
But
take on, you're supposed to take care of it. But his thing,
exactly.
if you read the story though, it really kind of points to what the boys did way back when they killed all those men and brought reproach to his name. Like it's almost like he was bitter at them for doing that,
But he was
and he was
already, but he was
easily,
already,
I was, yeah,
but
like
I'm
they
sorry, I
weren't
didn't
really
mean to
his
cut you
sons.
off.
He,
But he was,
it's okay.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. He did not revere them as his sons, just like he didn't revere Leah as his wife. And I just feel, if Heavenly Father gave us a choice, he had a choice. He did not have to stay. That's just all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
but he had
understand the
already
story,
defiled. Like
but
it
I'm
wasn't.
just saying.
Yeah, they had different rules for marriage. Like there was no, he couldn't walk away. He had already slept with her. Like there were
Well,
certain things about the way they honored their situation. Like ain't nobody say how you gotta, well, it was said how you had to be in the situation. But at the same time, they were provided for. They were, all the stuff, which is kind of what our grandparents said, that, well, I made sure you were fed, that kind of stuff. I
yeah,
totally get what you're saying. Sometimes you'd be better as an orphan with some of these
you're
grown
right.
people walking around here. But he did some of his manly duties. It's just the way he did it tenderly was not there. It was horrible the way he did it.
Yes.
But I'm
Okay.
sorry that you ladies went through those things. I went through some of what Auntie Marva went through. I was present for what she went through. I'm like her. A lot of the stuff I try to use or have used it. You turn your the stuff around and use it for fuel. Like one of the things my grandmother said, we were little when she started saying, we started hearing these things. If you're gonna be a whore, be a good one. That's nothing to tell anybody, not even a grown lady. Like what the world? But that's something like always. All right, well, I'm gonna be the best at what I can do. That's just what it says to me. Not the best way or
Mhm.
the way that I would have liked to hear it, if at all. But I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So as far as overcoming, I think we didn't all turn out horrible. Some people don't do well with the kind of abuse, a little less and a little, even a little more than what we encountered. Some people, it really crushes them and crushes their spirit, and they don't overcome it. And everybody fares just differently. The last thing that I had wanted to talk about, and I'm gonna run through these because of timing, is the preservation of legacy. But I first wanted to say about curses, whether you believe in them or not, we do see similarities if you are able to, because everybody's not even privy to their lineage biologically, right? But you can see similarities, and once you really do an analyzation of yourself and look at something, then you're able to change some things. We always want to try to get to the root because it needs to be rooted out, not bandaged over. And that's in all things. We want to get to the bottom, get it out of there, and it can really start to heal from that point. So as far as legacy and preservation, I just found this is from all over the internet. I found these suggestions. So of course you would like to keep pictures and stories and even recordings. I plan to get the little cassette tapes. They still sell
Yeah.
those, and introduce those to my grandchildren and get their voices and my voice, and we just start recording ourselves and keeping those put up. So heirlooms, property, even art, I know families that have done quilts, and do them together. A lot of these things can be done together. I've seen, like on movies, they show you where an older man and a younger man, they're restoring a car together. Just projects that you can do, passing down skills. We talked about that before, like cooking and mending and all these things. Just how to do your everyday stuff. Those things go a long way when you look back and be like, you know what, my pops taught me that, or Uncle so and so. I remember he used to teach me that. I didn't like doing it, but at least I know how to do this now, and you can pass those things on. Insurance policies are a big deal. Please, people, do not be the family. And this is nothing against anybody, but while we're here right now today, we can kind of start taking care of some of this stuff. It is very sad when you see families having to take up donations to um, lay someone to rest. We need to start getting on top of some of these things now, because that builds legacy as well. Debt should not be a thing that we look forward to or have to live in the shadow of. Also, just being a living example. Try to do better than the people that raised you, even if they were great. Be greater, right? So that makes values and standards. Your family, like these families back in the day, they had their own particular set of standards that held them up, that people knew them, and it worked the other way too. People tend to know, if you, especially if you're from a small town, there's that one family everybody can pretty much name, because they have these qualities about them that nobody really wants their kids to marry. I'll say that. Doesn't even sound nice to say, but that's the reality. Reunions and traditions, financial literacy that goes with the debt and the insurance type situation. The science of mating, we don't talk about that enough. And also, something that I've been really getting back to is my own relationship with the creator. Because if we all would, if most of us do agree that there is a creator, many people do, I won't say most, then if there is a creator of all things, then it would behoove us not to look to that creator and uh, develop a real relationship with that the creator, to see how we should move. If he's the creator, he would know more, he would know best, right? And pass that on down to our children. So those are just some of the things. Auntie Marva and Auntie
Mm-hmm.
Destiny, do y'all have anything? I know I went through those kind of quick, but was there anything that you might want to add that would give people encouragement as far as building a legacy, a
Nope, I think you
positive
covered.
legacy?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
then
you've pretty much covered.
Auntie Marva, did you have anything that came to mind?
Prayer.
Prayer. Oh, that's a beautiful one
Mhm.
too.
Lots
Yep.
of it.
Yep. So are you prepared to do our career corner right now?
Yes. I have three links that you guys will be able to find in the bio. Total Wine and Spirits across the country. So, I mean, you have to be at least 21 and older to apply, but you can go to their job site, go to their careers tab on their website and apply. They're looking for sales associates, and that is across the nation. You can go to US Bank is hiring sales rep associates, and this is full time and remote work.
I missed that. What bank?
US Bank.
U.S. Bank. Okay, thank you.
This is remote work, but they are hiring full time, and they actually have some decent pay there. I don't know the pay of the Total Wine and Spirits, but that is full time work as well. But the U.S. Bank is full time work, starting at a minimum of 58,000 per year. Now, like I said, that's remote, and it is entry level. And then third is part time remote work with Wayfair. That is the online furniture appliance thingamabobble. Um, and they are between $15 to $23 an hour. Remote work, part time and full time, and that too is well as entry level, and that is remote work. So you'll be able to find all those three tabs in the bio, and go on and fill out those applications. I do not know how long they will be active. As of right now, they are active, but get in there and fill those applications out as fast as you can before they are not.
All right, thank you.
You're
Auntie
welcome.
Destiny, I did see your message. And we have gone over our time. Do we actually have time to do the journey to self care and open topics, or are we tabling open topics?
Yeah, I
Because
don't
we
think
need
we'll
our
have
journey to
time.
self care.
Yeah. We could do journey to self. I'll do journey to self love and love and connections, but I don't think we'll have time for open topics this time.
Okay.
So for journey to self love, this is the very last one. I am so sad. So on your index cards, you are going to write I matter. And then for loving connections, you're going to name 5 things you need from your partner. That's it. Back to you, Auntie Janisha.
All right. Thank you for those. So, I do want to run into open topics, but it is with the outro. I just wanted to publicly give you some respect and thanks, Auntie Destiny, for setting the show up. And even though everything was already set up for me, it was still kind of a task to get it done. And of course, you see how I ran over. Probably have some more mistakes, and I'm gonna be like cringy when we go back and listen to it because you just hear things after the fact. But it was a cool opportunity. I did enjoy it, and I appreciate taking some of the weight off of your plate and jumping in here with this topic. I appreciate all of the reminders I got from actually going through this topic, prepping for this show, because you're never too old to begin a new tradition for yourself and your family. And I encourage everybody to just love, 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 love. I love you, ladies. Thank you.
Love you too, Auntie Janisha.
All right. And with that, did y'all have a final anything to say before we call it quit for the month?
No, just wanted to just thank our listeners again for tuning in and supporting us month after month. And don't forget to subscribe to our links and to comment.
Yes. Yep. Thank you, guys.
Later.
Happy Grandparents' Day, grandmamas, grandpapas. Marva, don't be like that. She's
I
giving
got
us
a long
thumbs
way to
down.
go. I got a
Happy
long way to go.
All
happy
right.
mi- happy millennials.
That's
We
right. We
love
love y'all
you.
for real. For
We love
reals.
millennials.
We do. We do. All right. Peace,
More like
everybody.
tolerate.
We out.